So hello and welcome everybody to another one. Yeah, so soon, right? Another one in the can already, as they used to say. I thought I would probably be doing an episode about my new camera that I'm shooting with right now, the FX30. Sold the A7C. It was kind of a bittersweet thing, you know, because I knew I was getting a new camera, but I was also very attached already to the A7C. Had been shooting with it for quite a while, and I gotta say I love the results, but just doing some tests and grading the footage out of the FX30 with that 10-bit codecs and stuff. Fantastic. That sort of levity or whatever you get, you know, with all that extra data. You can really tell by just pulling some of the sliders in Resolve when you're doing grading. Anyways, but the tests have been fun, and I probably would have had this done even sooner if I hadn't been messing around so much with the new camera. But that's not what this episode's about. So as excited as I am to talk about the FX30, I'm gonna need a lot more time with it to form an opinion so I can get back to you guys about my experiences with it. But as you probably gathered from the title, I'll be talking about this, the RS3 Mini. And those of you who watched my wide-angle lens comparison video that I did not too long ago, you'll know that I shot a lot of that with this. I did do some slider shots in that video, but a lot of it was done with this. And actually, let's roll that video right now, the video that I shot with this guy. Now, remember, I didn't have an FX30 at the time, so I couldn't shoot 4K 60. I shot the whole thing at 24 right out of the camera. Anyways, I'll stop talking and let you take a look. I had a little bit of a primer before I did that little real estate piece. I went to the Toronto Auto Show with Marmar with this thing along, and didn't shoot a ton of stuff because we were just focused on sort of having fun. So, but I did get a chance to sort of get to some comfort level with it before. When I went to the auto show, I didn't bring this handle along. If you guys have seen my show before, you know I like to keep things pretty compact because I'm typically traveling with my stuff, and that's why I had the Zhiyun M2 and the M2S. Got rid of the M2S because of the fact that I didn't even bring the gimbal or take the gimbal out of the bag on the last trip we went on. So I thought to myself, well, if I'm not bringing a gimbal along with us traveling, why am I so concerned with keeping everything so compact when it comes to the gimbal? Although, I mean, I don't like my gear to take up a lot of room anyway, and even if I'm out doing something professional or one of my other projects that isn't a travel video, I like keeping things small and light. So when DJI came out with this mini version the RS3, I thought to myself, wow, that looks like the perfect sort of use case going with this, because I do like a lot of the features here, even though, I mean, like, it is considerably heavier than the two gimbals I had prior. The payload capacity, you know, being able to put some of the lenses that I had planned for the future camera, which is right in front of me now. Believe it or not, some of these APS-C lenses are heavier than the lenses I was using on my full frame camera. Case in point would be the Samyang 18mm 2.8, which is a super lightweight lens, and I replaced that with the Sigma 16 1.4 that I used to use. Granted, it is a 1.4, so, you know, optically it makes sense that it may be a little bit heavier, but this thankfully can handle it. And the algorithm, I guess, that they're using for controlling the gimbal and everything, DJI really is on top of their game with stuff like that. There are some funny little quirks I'll discuss regarding mounting this on the gimbal, and things that I would have loved to have seen them do a little bit differently. Some of you probably know from other like some reviews that you've seen. This isn't a review, this is just me talking about this thing. Like you guys know, I don't really do reviews, but this this quick release plate is really my only gripe when it comes to mounting this thing. It's a very easy gimbal to balance. It's got the sort of software based little check here on the LCD where you can make sure your calibration has gone right, and it also does the little auto tune, so you can do the auto tune and then you can check your calibration afterwards. It's really nice, and I'm already in the habit of doing it. I have owned one of DJI's gimbals before, but I find that this is far more fully featured than the one that I had prior. Okay, so let's address this guy, the quick release. This will work with any Arca Swiss receiver. So if you've got a Arca Swiss, you know, tripod or whatever, or a slider that's got an Arca Swiss receiver on it, that's gonna fit on there. Now, but the other way around, if you've got a standard Arca Swiss plate, it's not going to fit on this gimbal. This is sort of proprietary to this gimbal. And the thing is that this is sort of notched out in a funny way here. There's that little notch you can see on that that edge right there, right in the corner here, and there's another one on the other side. And the reason we've got that is because there's this little safety that notch has to clear, and that's fine, you know, but that also means that if you're out shooting and you've got a bunch of accessories that you want to use an Arca Swiss plate with, this plate is going to be the one on your camera. Something I haven't heard a lot of YouTubers talking about is that the little rubber foot that they usually put on these guys here, they don't just keep this from sliding back and forth this way, but they're also usually helpful to keep the screw on the back from loosening, because if you've got a little thickness to that rubber, what happens is that rubber gets compressed and then it pushes back out, and it sort of locks that thread from undoing itself. My gripe here is twofold. That I don't think DJI sells these separately. Maybe they do, or maybe somebody else has an aftermarket version of this. But first of all, I don't want to lose this or have this damaged, because it's the only plate that fits onto this. So if I've got this permanently stuck on my camera all the time, that's fine, but what happens if something happens to this? The other half of the argument here, or the other half of my sort of gripe or complaint, is that because this little rubber foot isn't thick enough to keep that from getting loose on the bottom, I run the chance of losing this, and it also drives me nuts because this thing is constantly getting loose and sliding back and forth, which kind of negates the fact that this has got a little thumb screw on the back. It does have a you know, a flathead on there as well. I mean, you could use something else to screw it in maybe a little bit tighter, but you really shouldn't have to. And honestly, I had this really cranked, and when I was at the auto show, it still kept getting loose on me, and it was frankly driving me crazy. So my recommendation to DJI is, you know, pay a little more attention to little things like that, because they can really make or break a user experience. And I'm thinking of maybe beefing up the rubber on there, maybe gluing my own rubber pad on the bottom of that, just to give it a little bit more give. So we've got a little bit more pressure on that thread when it's cranked down, so it's not working its way back off. We'll see how that works. Hopefully it doesn't make it worse. So this was a bit of a short one, but as usual, if you guys got something out of this, please consider throwing me a thumbs up. If not, that's okay too. If you'd like to receive notifications of whenever these videos come out, please subscribe and make sure your notifications are active. And if any of you know where to get one of these things, from DJI or maybe an aftermarket one elsewhere that works with this gimbal, please let me know in the comments below. And if you've got any experience yourself with one of these and there's something you want to tell me about, or any tips on maybe how to keep this from sliding around or what have you, I'd love to hear about those too. Anyway, until next time, keep working to make your chosen idea a reality. Peace.